Hey up everybody, how you all doing? I hope you're well. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are. Right, I've got top 10 remarkable American inventions that changed the world. The other day I did do, well it was yesterday, I did Lost in the Pond, inventions that changed Britain forever. But yes, people in the comments were saying, what haven't we invented? What hasn't America invented? I know you've invented a hell of a lot of stuff over there. Internet being one. I did read in the comments because I was saying that I didn't know the difference between the internet and www. And I did read it, and I can't quite remember what it said. Something to do with the internet being the engine, and the www dot did something else. I did read it. I can't remember what it said, but I'll have to read it again. Right, yeah, so this is what top 10 remarkable American inventions. So yeah, let's get on with it. I'll give it a subscribe, I'll give it a like, and right, let's go. Right, internet. Production lines. I don't know, perhaps I'm going to be surprised it's earlier. I might be a typical Brit and assume that it was invented here.
In 1997, fully half the households in America which were connected to the internet were using AOL.
You've got mail.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks.
See, when we first got internet back in the day, many moons ago, we had AOL as well.
For the greatest inventions in American history. These
World
tools
history.
change the way we interact with the world and represent huge technological leaps forward.
Information isn't bound up anymore. It's an entity. The only reality is virtual. If you're not jacked in, you're not alive.
Number 10. Email. Email revolutionized the way human beings communicate around the world. The Advanced Research Projects Agency Network, or ARPANET, sent the first email in 1971. Programmer Ray Tomlinson pioneered the use of the @ symbol as well, creating a standard for email directionality.
It was just a hack. And
Just an hack. It's simple. It's like, yeah, I'll do this. Some extremely clever people out here, ain't they?
the next step
In this
was
world.
to get other people to try using it.
Within 5 years, the majority of communications at ARPANET were via email. With the advent of attachments in 1992, emails became the easiest and fastest way to send information from point to point.
Click here, and it's done.
By the start of the 21st century, email became one of the primary tools for global communications. Email allowed people from all over the planet to communicate with the click of a mouse.
Hey, everybody.
I've only ever sent 2 emails, ever, and it's since I started doing this YouTube thing, asking for permissions to use their stuff, people's other creators' stuff. But yeah, no, other than that, I hadn't sent any emails at all.
Email you. I don't have an email.
Number 9. Magnetic resonance imaging. It's impossible to measure the impact of the MRI machine on the world of medicine. Nuclear magnetic resonance has been around in one form or another since the end of World War II, but 2 doctors in the late 1960s and early 1970s saw the potential to revolutionize medicine forever. Doctors Paul Latimer and Raymond Damadian separately experimented with NMR in scanning for cancer cells. By 1974, results of their experiments were published and a patent was filed. By 1977, the first full-body scanner was invented. There is no way to calculate the number of lives saved by the MRI machine, but it's easily in the millions.
Is your MRI and the CAT scan machine the same or the different? Because if they're different, I've always heard that somewhat a Brit invented the CAT scan and the thing that goes in the radar. That's why I commented on the microwave the other day, because I assumed that a Brit invented that. Like I do a lot of things, assume. But no, it was a component that was inside it that got put into a microwave that a Brit invented. I can't remember what it's called now, but the thing that first got its first start in a radar, I believe. But yeah, let me know if you do know if there is a difference between the CAT scan and the MRI. Please.
Latimer's contributions to MRI development won the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 2023.
Damadian protested vigorously in 2003 when a pair of other doctors won the Nobel Prize in Medicine for their contributions to MRI technology.
Number 8. Interchangeable parts. Standardized interchangeable parts for machines is not a new idea. There is evidence that ancient Carthage used them for their warships thousands of years ago. The Qing dynasty used them for crossbows in ancient China. The military of the 18th century France attempted to follow their example to limited success. French experimentation with interchangeable...
I'm trying to think of the word now. all sorts like military planes and stuff like that. They're trying to make modular. Is that the right word? Where you can just take bits out and put more modern bits on and stuff. Not just the hard software computer stuff, but just like all technology. Kind of same sort of thing.
The Qing dynasty used them for crossbows in ancient China. The military of the 18th century France attempted to follow their example to limited success. French experimentation with interchangeable musket parts inspired Thomas Jefferson in 1785. He pressed his fellow Americans to follow suit. In 1798, President George Washington and his Congress came through. They awarded a contract to Eli Whitney to provide the government with 20,000 muskets.
Building 10,000 muskets as individuals would take an enormous amount of time. That's where he conceived the idea of interchangeable parts.
After his death, Whitney's arms company perfected the process. Interchangeable parts are now a staple of modern manufacturing. They allow for quality control, cost control, and the speedy manufacture.
See, I said clever about that, about that geezer with the computer stuff, because that to me is clever. I don't call that sort of stuff genius. This to me is sort of genius. Something that you can fix, something that does your head in that you can just fix with something simple. But nobody else has thought of, therefore it being genius. But yeah, no, people that do stuff with computers and stuff like that, clever, clever, clever. I wouldn't call them genius, but very, 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 very clever. Just random stuff like this is genius to me.
Of goods.
While most people remember him for the invention of cotton gin, it's really the concept of assembling interchangeable parts that truly changed the world.
Number 7. Personal computers. The first general-purpose computer, ENIAC, was invented in 1946 at the University of Pennsylvania. It took up 1,800 feet of floor. Number 7. Personal computers. The first general-purpose computer, ENIAC, was invented.
See, I was going to say the first computer was Turing, wasn't it, during World War II. But that was not a personal computer, so yeah, makes sense.
Invented in 1946 at the University of Pennsylvania. It took up 1,800 feet of floor space and weighed 30 tons. At the time, it would have been impossible to envision a consumer-grade computer small enough to be available in every home.
This convinced the colonels and generals present that electronic computers were important.
Within a single generation, though, that impossible dream became a reality. Thanks to the microprocessor, computers could be made smaller, cheaper, and more powerful than ENIAC's creators could ever imagine. John Blankenbaker invented Kenback 1, the first PC, in 1971. Fewer than 50 models of the Kenback 1 were ever built. 50 years later, personal computing...
Longest goes at 71. That's crazy.
John Blankenbaker invented Kenback 1.
I'm not sure when my dad's always had computers and internet since it was a thing. I remember it far back as I can remember. But yeah, I don't know what year he got it. What year he started. I feel as though it might have been in the mid to late 80s, maybe early 90s. I don't know. I'll have to ask my dad on that. But I know he always had it.
1, the first PC, in 1971. Fewer than 50 models of the Kenback 1 were ever built. 50 years later, personal computing has shaped the modern world.
With this tool for modern times, a person can quickly master such jobs as accounting or word processing.
Number 6, GPS. When the Soviet Union launched Sputnik in 1957, American physicists realized they could track its radio transmissions thanks to the Doppler effect. The US military saw great value in this technology. By 1968, their transit system utilized a network of 36 satellites for global positioning. It was one of several systems in existence. In 19...
If you're just wondering then, that was my Doppler effect then. I don't know what I'm doing.
1973, the Department of Defense launched a project to synthesize various tracking systems. By 1978, the military began to launch and test modern Navstar GPS satellites.
When it is available, the space shuttle will be used to place Navstar satellites in orbit.
President Reagan approved commercial use of GPS in 1983. By the start of the 20th century, GPS devices were incorporated both into civilian vehicles and phones. Today, it is an essential technology for navigation, business, and military operations.
What we are doing is
See, even if I'm going somewhere where I know exactly where I'm going, I still set the GPS for it.
Calculating exactly where the
vehicles and phones. Today, it is an essential technology for navigation, business, and military operations.
What we are doing is calculating exactly where the center of this satellite is relative to where we are.
Number 5, the light bulb. Bringing light to the masses was one of the greatest technological leaps in human history. The mid-1800s saw great competition in this space, as inventors around the world raced to invent their electric light. The first filament bulb was created by British inventor Warren de la Rue in
there was about 3 people at the same time, weren't they?
1840. His use of platinum filament made it expensive and impractical. Joseph Swan in the UK and Thomas Edison in the US each independently invented bulbs using cheaper filaments.
Finally, in October 1879, Edison had a breakthrough when he realized that a very thin carbon filament with high electrical resistance was needed to make a light bulb practical.
Edison received a patent on his bulb in early 1880, a little before Swan. The light bulb, an invention that could light up every home, revolutionized life around the world. It led to the development of the electrical grid and set the stage for our modern electricity-dependent society.
In fact, the bulb he created is very similar to the light bulbs.
Imagine if electric just went now, all the power just went all over the world. It'd be absolute bloody chaos, wouldn't it? It'd be crazy. I get stressed out when my Wi-Fi goes down, and that's quite often.
We use today.
Number 4, the telephone. In this modern era of text-first calling is passé, it can be hard to remember that the telephone was a big deal. Scottish transplant Alexander Graham Bell invented the electric telephone in 1876. The phone's predecessor, the telegraph, only transmitted brief written messages.
Watson, come here. I want to see you.
I heard you. I heard what you said.
The telephone, however, allowed people to speak with one another in real time over long distances. It was a game-changing technology that sped up the efficiency of business and could instantly connect people globally.
Bell's vision will revolutionize communication.
Emergencies could be reported to authorities as they occurred. The telephone effectively shrunk the world and sped it up. While Bell was Scottish-born and also lived in Canada as well as the US, he patented his invention in the US.
On July...
Someone did correct me in the comments saying it was a Scot. Because I mentioned about the telephone in the last one I did. I think it was telephone. Might have been TV or telephone, I can't remember. But it must have been telephone because he kind of said it there. That it was a Scot living in the US. But I didn't know he lived in Canada too.
July 9th, 1877, the Bell Telephone Company launches, with Hubbard as president and Bell as chief electrician and largest shareholder.
Number 3, the assembly line.
See,
I think the assembly line is...
Henry Ford. Yeah, they sorted out the production line, made things cheap and mass production.
the most significant technological development of the 20th century.
For the majority of human history, manufactured goods were custom-made. Every model of a machine, good, piece of clothing, or tool was in some way unique. Interchangeable parts standardized products, allowing for easier and cheaper manufacturing. In 1901, automobile manufacturer Ransom Olds took it a step further with the assembly line. By standardizing and automating many aspects of manufacturing, uniform goods can get created faster and at lower costs. Olds' vehicle, the Oldsmobile Curved Dash, was the first mass-produced car ever made. Olds' method was adopted and perfected by Henry Ford with his Model T in 1913. Today, the assembly line combines human labor and automation to create virtually every mass-produced product on Earth.
From its earliest forms to the state-of-the-art, the assembly line has evolved by constantly adjusting the relationship between people and machines.
Number 2. The airplane. People have always observed birds and insects and dreamed of flight. The Greeks spoke of Icarus and Daedalus and their wax and feather wings. Leonardo da Vinci theorized and sketched a flying machine. But it wasn't until 1903 in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, that the airplane came to life. Wilbur and Orville Wright experimented with aeronautics for 4 years until their successful flight.
The Dayton, Ohio duo became the first people in history to successfully pilot an engine-powered airplane.
Within a decade, their invention was first used in warfare. Within 7 decades, their technology evolved and took us to the moon. Today, the airplane is an indispensable technology. The plane lets us transport goods and people around the world quickly. We once fought wars over goods and trade. Today, the plane allows trade to flow freely all over the planet. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Hearing aids. This invention helps people with hearing loss communicate and reconnect with the world.
Hi, baby. Who's that, Poppy?
Hi!
Cardiac defibrillators. Thanks to this invention, hearts around the world can get a jump start when they need one.
Press flashing shock button.
Clear.
Saved a couple of lives.
Shock 1 delivered.
3D printing. The potential applications of this young technology are endless.
We get very nice cartilage tissue that have healing capacity, so we are very optimistic.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The Internet.
The Internet and the information age it sparked has created a seismic shift that completely changed how we live and communicate.
The most revolutionary technologies of human history are notable for making the world smaller. The wheel, the sail, the internal combustion engine, the telephone, and the airplane all revolutionized travel and communication. But the internet gives people access to the entirety of human existence with just a few keystrokes. In 1969, researchers at the Advanced Research Projects Agency created the first network between labs at UCLA and Stanford.
The communication from UCLA to Stanford was meant to say login, but only the LO made it through.
Over time, their network expanded further and further, standardizing protocols and connecting anyone with a device. The internet has revolutionized the way human beings share information. For both good and ill, communication and access to resources are better now than at any other time in history.
And it would not have been possible without the pioneering researchers and hackers who knew computer networks could do more than launch a counter-strike.
Do we miss a quintessential American invention? If a flash of inspiration hits you, let us know in the comments below.
When you're smart, people need you.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
There we go, no. See the MRI and the CAT scan, if you know, let me know in the comments, because I need to know whether that's any invention that I got wrong, thinking that the CAT scanner was invented here. Because if it is the same as the MRI scanner, obviously I've been taught otherwise, haven't I? But yeah, I don't know if they are the same thing. Hopefully that made sense. I don't feel as though it did. But let me know about the CAT scanner and MRI. That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, very good. And I thank you very much, especially for the internet. Right. If you enjoyed that, give us a thumbs up and all that good stuff if you want to. And I'll see you in a bit. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.